I almost didn't go. The invitation had come through a group text, one of those cheerful messages filled with exclamation points and old photos.
Family reunion! Everyone together again!
My sister-in-law had sent it, though my brother's name sat beside it as if he'd written it himself. I stared at the message for a long time before replying with a simple "I'll try to make it." That was my first mistake. The drive there took 3 hours. I spent most of it rehearsing normal conversation in my head, safe topics, work, traffic, weather, things that didn't invite old stories about how I used to be. I even stopped at a market on the way and bought a large gift basket, wine, cheese, fancy crackers, the kind of thing people set in the middle of a table and say, "Oh wow, you didn't have to do that." The house was already loud when I arrived. Cars lined the street. Water spilled through the open windows. Kids ran across the yard like they owned the place. I stood there for a moment with the basket in my arms, taking a breath, telling myself this was normal. Families were messy. That didn't mean they didn't care. Inside, the dining room had been turned into a kind of staging area. A long folding table held name cards for the dinner seating. Someone had even drawn little flowers around them with a marker. I stepped closer. My name was there. Or at least it had been. It was scratched out with 2 thick lines of blue ink. Not replaced, just crossed out. For a second I thought maybe it was a mistake. Maybe they had moved me to another table. Then I heard her. My brother's wife. "Oh God," she said loudly behind me. "You actually came." There was a pause. The kind of pause people leave when they're waiting for everyone else to laugh. A few of them did. I turned slightly. She stood near the kitchen doorway holding a drink, eyebrows raised like she'd just spotted a raccoon in the house. "I thought you were busy," she added. My mother appeared beside her. She didn't look surprised to see me. She looked tired. "Oh," she said, waving a dismissive hand. "Well, you're here now." Then she leaned closer, lowering her voice in a way that somehow made it louder. "Just don't embarrass us this time." Something inside me went very quiet. I set the gift basket down on the table. No one stopped me. No one asked where I was going. Behind me, someone said, "Didn't she used to storm out of everything?" Another voice laughed. I walked out the front door. The air outside felt strangely calm, like the world hadn't noticed anything unusual had happened. When I reached my car, I realized my hands weren't shaking. That surprised me. Usually they did. I drove home without music. The first voicemail came about 2 weeks later. I didn't recognize the number at first, so I let it go to voicemail. It was my brother. "Hey, quick question," he said. "Did something happen with the utility auto-pay thing you set up a while back? They're saying it didn't go through." I didn't call him back. Not because I was angry. Because I honestly didn't have anything to say. Years earlier, after my father died, I had quietly taken over a lot of the background things no one else wanted to deal with. Bills. Refinancing paperwork. Credit applications when my brother wanted to expand his contracting business. Temporary co-signing arrangements that were always supposed to be temporary. I never talked about it. No one asked. And over time, as my own life stabilized, I slowly removed myself from those arrangements. Closed the joint oversight accounts. Removed my financial guarantees, transferred responsibilities back to the names that were supposed to carry them. All legal. All proper. All documented. Just quiet. The second voicemail came 3 days later. My sister-in-law this time. Her voice sounded confused. "Hey, so, my card got declined today and the bank said something about an account restructuring. Do you know what that means?" Another pause. "You handled a lot of this stuff, right?" More messages followed over the next few weeks. At first they sounded practical. Questions. Requests. Then the tone changed. My mother called one evening. Her voice was softer than I'd heard in years. "I think we misunderstood some things," she said. She didn't explain what things. She didn't mention the reunion. But I knew. Institutions move slowly. Banks don't shout. Utilities don't argue. They simply send notices. declined, overdue, service interruption scheduled. None of it had anything to do with revenge. Systems just respond to the names attached to responsibility. For years, mine had been quietly sitting behind theirs. Until it wasn't. One night I listened to a voicemail from my brother while sitting on my apartment balcony. The city was quiet. He sounded tired. "Look, I guess we didn't realize how much you were helping." He stopped speaking for a moment. Then he said something I'd never heard from him before. "We probably should have said thank you." I let the message end. Then I locked my phone and set it on the table. Below me, traffic moved steadily through the intersection. People going home. People leaving somewhere. Just ordinary movement. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like I was holding anything up. And I didn't feel the need to go back.